I had grown up in the church, don't say sucks, don't get tattoos, don't look at Victoria's Secret, don't watch Super Bowl halftime shows. And in the process of all those experiences, I think I had put so much safety and structure in my parents, because the world was a very scary place, and they were the ones helping me avoid all these scary parts of it. So when my parents started fighting when I was like 12, I just remember that hurting because I was so confused. I was like, why would you have 6 kids and then disappear? Why would you spend all this time in church talking about loving each other and then come home and yell at each other? Why would any of this happen? And so I remember, I think I was 14 or so when my dad and my mom were fighting again, and I figured I'm gonna put an end to this, because clearly they just can't see that we want to be loved and taken care of. We don't want to be judged. There was like arguing going on about our education at the time and being homeschooled and whatever else, but it was like we're fine, guys. Like, we're fine. And I wanted so badly for everything to be fine. But I was scared. I was like, what's going to happen to my 5 younger siblings? One of whom is like a newborn baby right now. If my dad disappears, like, what do I do? Am I the dad now? I remember moments where mom was in like total, just sort of like despair. And our family, our sort of like extended family wasn't really talking to us. We got like blacklisted, and I just remember feeling like, what am I going to do if dad leaves and mom dies? How do I take care of my 5 younger siblings? And that was really scary. And so this one time my parents were fighting in the kitchen, and I just remember hearing yelling, and I remember slowly walking down the stairs from my room holding a pair of scissors and a piece of paper. I don't remember the paper saying anything, but I feel like, I don't know, it must have written something. But I came down the stairs and I walked into the living room, and I don't remember if I said something or if they just turned and looked at me. But I remember going, if you leave again, I'm going to kill myself. And I honestly don't think that I had really thought past that point. It was like a desperate Hail Mary for attention by a 14-year-old who was terrified of having to take care of 5 kids that he did not create. And so there was a sort of moment of silence. Both of the parents looking at each other and looking at me. And I remember my dad just turning to my mom and going, "Look at what you've done." And then the door closing behind him, and my world went black. black. Like, what the fuck was that? If I hadn't felt like I was worthless before, in that moment I definitely did. I felt like I must have done something horribly wrong, that my dad would rather walk away from me and let me kill myself than be there for me in that moment. That is pain. Pain is the disconnection of something that's supposed to be connected. And from my perspective at that point, I was supposed to be connected to my dad, and I wasn't anymore, and that was very, very painful. I was lost. I had no sense of my value, no sense of direction outside of survival and the survival of my family. When I turned 18, I moved to Cape Cod because I wanted to get out of that whole world, but I wanted to be close enough that I could still be involved for my siblings. So I started working at Marshall's and Ace Hardware, and interning at a church, making design projects and being a part of the music team there. I wanted so badly to be known and loved. And I wanted to connect with someone, connect with a community, to begin to create a new family after my first family had blown up. And so I got super involved in the church there, super involved in the youth group, super involved in being creative. But I always sort of felt very much like an outsider. Like I was very involved, but I never felt like I was actually a part of anything. There was a girl there who had also gone through some hard stuff recently, and I think was feeling the same feelings. And we were talking a lot and ended up getting together, and one night, our teenage hormones got the best of us. And I remember feeling like really connected for a moment. Like, wow, someone might actually love me. I woke up the next morning to find out that apparently she felt a lot of shame for what had happened, which I get. Like, that's just how we were raised. And so she had gone and told the church leaders about it. And I don't really know what happened there, but somehow the decision was made that, like, I was a predator. I got banned from the youth group. I got kicked off the band. I got told that I couldn't go to help at the camp that I was supposed to go to in a few weeks. I was a pariah. And I remember just being like, oh, dude, like I had this one moment where I thought someone was going to like love me, And then the people who I thought loved me, like the people who I thought were my community, just freaking torched me again. Like, and I do remember at that moment thinking, like, this is why you don't get involved with people. Like, this is people that you love turn on you and destroy you. And so I sort of vowed never to like try and get close to someone ever again. I was super mad at the church. It felt very hypocritical to me to, have two clearly lonely teenagers and then in a moment of confusion to just like isolate them more. So the next few years of my life, I decided to sink all my energy into being creative. I got my first camera, I started making videos, started taking photos, and I ended up getting the opportunity to build a online film community. And my goal was just to help people, because the process of going from like very entry level to doing actually good work felt very opaque to me. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go figure it out and I'm going to try and share that journey with people. One day it just sort of blew up. Suddenly I had a podcast and I was talking to high-level filmmakers from around the world. I had a Facebook group with a couple thousand people in it. I had a Patreon. I had in-person events. I had sponsors hitting me up. And I never really showed up. Like, I had this split mind where it was like, well, do I want to like build this community or do I want to go be some big commercial filmmaker? And I think subconsciously I was like, dude, like, fuck the community. Like, it's good for what you can get out of it, but like, do not let those people sink their fangs into you again. Like, you've had two people turn and burn you and we barely survived. And so I was sort of like limping it along because I loved it. Like, I deeply loved it. I loved the people who were a part of it. I loved the opportunity to share financial benefits with people, to share connections with people, to refer people to other jobs. Like, the whole thing was blissful for me, but I was so scared of giving myself to it. And that split focus caused me to just totally burn myself out. I was 260 pounds. I was on the verge of a divorce. I was so stressed, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I was just a wreck. And I made the decision that like I wanted to get help. I don't know why. To this day, I don't know why I made that decision. But I shut it all down. I archived the Facebook group. I shut down my Patreons. I closed down our blog. Because if I didn't, I was getting divorced. And like, I couldn't have another person leave me. But it hurt so bad to have to give up what I loved to keep a relationship with someone that I loved. And so when I shut it all down, I just remember people being so annoyed at me. And I just remember being confused again. Like, I just poured my heart and soul into building something for you guys for the last 3 or 4 years that, for the most part, everyone told me wasn't worth anything. And the only way I could get people to support what I was doing was to go promise them a ton of Patreon content that I couldn't possibly fulfill on. And like, that was all on me though. That was all my own lack of skillfulness, my own fears around asking for things and having boundaries. Like, I had so many weaknesses there. But I remember closing it, and I remember getting DMs from people that was like, I used to look up to you, or you're never going to work in this industry again. And those things just like rattling around in my head that I was like, did I just destroy my life? And I might not even save my marriage. Like, this might just be it. And so the next few years, I just poured myself into getting myself right. Going to therapy, going to the gym, learning about my body, learning about my mind, learning about relationships, learning about communication, learning about business. And on some level, I think it was all like just insulation. It felt like I was just trying to avoid getting hurt again. Like, I'd already burned my life down 3 or 4 times. And some stuff went on with my family. And long story short, I got the opportunity to reconnect with my dad, who I had had no significant relationship with since he walked away that night. I was finally strong enough to go have a conversation with him, and he was in a place where he was willing to have that conversation. And I just remember being so scared. I was convinced. I was like, he's gonna kill me. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but I was just like, he's gonna kill me. And so we were gonna go for a hike. And I remember I got to his house, which I had never been at, his new house. And, you know, he was very kind. He was like, oh, I'm excited to see you. And he's like, there's bears out there. And he pulls a handgun out and loads it. And I was like, dude, I'm about to get fucking gatted in the back of the head by my own dad. Like, this is my character arc. But I need to do this. I need to show myself that I can tell my dad the truth, that I can tell him how I felt, that I can at least share this experience and close this loop of the last 14 years of like what that interaction, the trajectory it put me on, and how I see his own capacity for better. I saw my own capacity to be that evil. I saw myself not show up for Mandy. I saw myself get overwhelmed and want to blame everything on her. And I could finally understand where my dad was at that night. So we ended up hiking for 3 hours and talking about everything that we had missed in each other's lives and the two sides of the experience back when I was a teenager. And I remember walking back to the car and just quietly crying as I was walking behind him because I never thought it would happen. That hike was uncomfortable because it's always uncomfortable to reconnect something that's been disconnected. I then went through a series of other uncomfortable experiences with finally learning how to be completely honest with my wife. I had learned so many ways to tell half-truths and project my perception of what I thought people wanted me to be. And it was killing my ability to actually connect with people. But after seeing the truth fix my relationship with my dad, I was like, I have to start being more honest other places and like worry less about changing things and just worry more about showing up. And so I started really doubling down on my relationship with Mandy, and it's still hard, but it's so much better than any other relationship I've ever had with any other person. we ended up growing so much over the course of the last few years. And to see someone repeatedly choose me when things got hard instead of turning on me was incredible. And so then when I started coming back to wanting to share my journey, I realized that I was still so afraid that I wouldn't say it right, that people would hold against me all the things that I had messed up in the past. I had this level of shame whenever I would meet people who said, oh, like I used to be a part of your Patreon, and I'd be like, I'm so sorry. And on some level I am, because I'm sure that was an unpleasant experience for people. But on another level, I'm honestly not. Because when the things were going on with my dad and I threatened to kill myself, I was doing the best thing I knew how to try and make a connection and save a relationship that mattered to me and take care of my siblings. And when things with that relationship went south on the Cape, yes, I was relationally unskilled. Yes, I was dishonest and probably manipulative and all of that. But I just wanted to be loved and saw someone else who I thought needed to be loved. And when I stepped away from the Facebook group and the podcast and everything else, like, could I have managed that a whole lot better? Yes. I chose to burn up everything that I had worked for the sake of loving and taking care of my wife, because my own lack of skill there was hurting her. And hurting me. When I went back out to see my dad, like, I was showing up for a future where I knew that myself first, but also my siblings could like get closure on all the self-image problems and self-confidence problems that we'd experienced since our childhoods. And so like there's some days that with what I'm doing now, those voices still pop up and they're like, you're gonna fail, people are gonna leave you, this doesn't even matter. But honestly, it's like I so I listen to those voices and I say, I appreciate you sharing. And I understand why you believe that, but like, we're gonna be okay. Because I'm not the failure. I'm not the unskillfulness. I'm not the thing I'm afraid of. I'm not the person who is left. When everyone else gave up on me, I was there. When everything was stacked against me and trying to pull me to just go take the money and run, go, you know, whatever, take this short-term path, I said no. I didn't kill myself. I did stay with my wife. I did go to therapy. I did learn about how to build a better business. I did believe that you could tell better stories that matter. I did believe that you can build a team, and I do believe that you can build a team that shows people the power of continually showing up and pursuing their dreams. I believe in the opportunities of the world that we live in. I believe in the power of media for good and for healing instead of just fucking hijacking people's nervous systems to feed their fear and insecurity. I believe in teaching people to respect themselves and listen to their guts. And in the process of me threatening suicide and cutting myself after that, and going through messed up relationships, and going from 260 pounds to a half Ironman, and building companies and burning companies, like, I'm okay. And I'm not just okay, I'm like so much better than I ever was. And so like, that's what Challenger is for. It's a reminder that like, yeah, maybe you're in the shitty part now. Maybe your dad just left. Maybe someone told you that you did something wrong and you're not allowed to be a part of that community. Maybe someone told you that like the thing that you believe is not okay, or the way that you talk is not okay, or the way that you want to dress is not okay, or the people that you want to love are not okay. It is okay. If you, deep down in your gut, when you really sit and listen to it, when you take time to separate the fear from who you are, you are the one that wants good. When I donated a laptop to a developing artist recently, someone told me, oh, that's so selfless. And I fucking hate that, honestly. Myself is the one that wants to do that. And this idea that yourself is the bad part of you, the part that's unskilled, the part of you that's afraid, the part of you that wants to be rude or that anything else, like you just want to be loved and you want to love on other people. I do. And I haven't always shown up like that. And it's a freaking really hard mess to go through to get to where you can actually consistently be connected to that part of you. But it's possible. And like another thing that I've learned is that like greatness isn't one-dimensional, man. So for me, like being a challenger is not just showing up to be the best filmmaker I can be, it's being the best husband I can be, it's taking care of my body, it's taking care of everything that matters to me, and not taking extra care of anything that doesn't matter to me. I used to think that I cared so much about big client names and like big Instagram followers, and I honestly don't care. But I burned myself out trying to care about something I didn't. So, why do we fall down? To learn to pick ourselves back up again. And Challenger is going to find a lot of really fun ways to teach people that. And to show people their own strength. And to show people that they matter. And to take care of people. And to love on people. Because I believe that when you love on people, they turn into the most beautiful monsters you could ever imagine. So, that's where we're headed. Because I love being creative and validating people, including me.